Hi there, Sarah Furness here, and today I wanted to talk about what I mean by train hard, fight easy. Now, I've talked about this in my book, it's chapter 3, and I just want to kind of bring this to life because a couple of you asked me what I meant by this. So, what I mean is that actually when you're training in awareness, you can call it whatever you like. You can call it becoming self-aware, you can call it resting in awareness, you can call it meditation, you can call it mindfulness. Doesn't really matter what you call it, but when we're training in awareness, this is often quite uncomfortable and difficult for us to do. We often stay busy because we don't like sitting with ourselves in the quiet moments, and we don't like hearing the inner voice or the inner critic. So, when I say train hard, fight easy, I'm not talking about sort of crawling through ditches and spending, months on Salisbury Plain freezing cold, although, of course, that is what it meant when we were in the military. It's actually about training your mind. And it's to understand that we don't need to underestimate that this is not something we would naturally do. We would naturally just get on with our lives and spend most of our time on autopilot if we could. So I want to explain to you why train hard, fight easy is worth it. Why is the juice worth the squeeze? And I'll give you an example. So when I started to sort of sit in awareness and just become more aware of what my narrative was, what are the thoughts that are going around in my head? What are the feelings? I realized that I had a kind of a pervading belief really that I wasn't very lovable. Now, I'm not saying this so that you can all feel sorry for me. I'm saying this because I have coached a lot of people who, when it comes down to it, have some kind of fear. We all want to be loved. And deep down, most of us worry that, we're not good enough in some form or another. We have these kind of doubts and fears. So, but it's not until you kind of sit still for long enough that you realize. And that was important, not so that we can go back and, figure out the moment in my life when I decided this. Maybe it's because I got dumped when I was 12. Maybe my parents didn't hug me enough. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The point is, most of us have this fear in some form or another. It doesn't mean you're broken, it just means you're human. But it's important to understand that because it allowed me to understand why I was behaving in a certain way. So, for example, my partner, who I care about a great deal, will say something to me and I will find myself getting prickly and wanting to be feisty, and I've been feisty all my life and I sort of give as good as I get. And in the past that has alienated me from people. It's caused self-loathing because I don't like how I come across. And it wasn't until I kind of sat with those thoughts that I realized actually it's because I'm scared that I'm going to be rejected. So now that I am aware of this, I can start to have a little bit more compassion for myself in that moment and realize this is not me being a monster. This is me being scared. Okay. And it's a lot easier to have compassion for yourself when you realize that's what's going on. But also, if you do have a relationship where you can kind of share these fears, often people will say, gosh, I feel exactly the same way. I worry all the time. And, with my partner, we've got a great relationship and, and he will often, reassure me that actually I feel the same way a lot of the time. And so what you're doing is you're now kind of filling the bank up. And this is the train hard, fight easy bit as well. If you expect to be able to kind of draw on some kind of infinite reserve of calm in the moment, it's unlikely to happen. When you're in fight or flight, when you're feeling attacked, whether it's real or perceived, that is not a good time to suddenly hope that we're going to be calm. So the trick is to do the train hard, fight easy. It's to put the work in, to sit in that awareness. It's to put the work in with your relationships and to remind each other how much you care about each other or how much you respect each other. So if that's personal relationships, obviously, you can, be affectionate, hugs, tell each other how you care about each other, say thank you. If it's work colleagues, you can pick from that list what you think is appropriate. But you put the work in when you're feeling calm and resourced. That's the train hard bit, okay? You put the work in when you're feeling calm and resourced to sit with a bit of awareness and go, why do I do that? What is it? What's going on in my head that is causing me to be hostile? That's the train hard. And you do that when you're feeling calm and resourced, okay? And then what that's doing is it is starting to create this compassion within yourself, but for others, because you realize, hey, guess what? Other people feel like this too. I am not the only one here. But the other thing is, you can start to create that sense of connection with people. You can start to fill the bank with positive experiences. And all that's doing is it's starting to turn up the volume of this other voice in your head, which is, I am loved. So I've got this big shouty voice in my head when I'm feeling hostile, which is, this person doesn't love me, I'm worthless. And that's the big shouty voice, okay? That's very hard to drown out. But you've got this little voice that's saying, but I am loved. And what happens is the more you train and the more you sit in awareness and the more that you put the work in, the louder that little voice gets, until you get to a point where the next time you would normally go to your default position, which is being defensive or whatever it is, you can hear that voice for the first time. And you can hear a little voice that says, I am loved. And it will just take the edge off how hostile or scared or whatever it is that you're feeling in that moment. That's train hard, fight easy. And it will take time, but there will become a moment down the line where you go, oh, I feel a little bit more in control now. I feel a little bit more self-confident. I feel a little bit calmer in this moment. That's what train hard, fight easy means. And I wanted to share this with you because we're coming into a period of festivities and lots of emotions running high. And I wanted to let you know that this is a really great time to invest in yourself and invest in your relationships, because it will pay off, I promise you. Okay, let me know how you get on with that. Always happy to hear your comments. And if it's not too early, to say Happy Christmas when it comes to you.